You don't cry when you're born on a Terminid world. You inhale dust, spores, and the faint metallic scent of something still burning. You open your eyes to a ceiling that moves, resin breathing, dripping warmth from veins that pulse like the planet's own heart. My mother said I came out silent. She called it a blessing. Crying gets you found. The first sound I remember wasn't her voice. It was the hive, that low, endless hum that lives in the bones of every survivor. It never stops. It's in the air, in the walls, in you. Some say if you listen long enough, it starts to recognize you back. We lived beneath the surface, in tunnels left behind by soldiers who'd tried to burn the swarm away. They failed. The hive always returns. The walls still glow faintly where fire met flesh. The old ones told stories about SuperEarth, about order, safety, clean light. To us, it sounded like a fairy tale. Here, the light is poison, and order is the sound of the hive breathing in your sleep. They say humans weren't meant to live here. Maybe they're right. Maybe we just forgot how to leave. They called us the hive children, not as an insult, but as a kind of warning. Anyone born here carried the mark of the planet. You could see it in our eyes, yellow under certain light. You could hear it in the way we breathed, always shallow, as if afraid to disturb the hum that lived in the walls. I was born in the tunnels of Gore 9, a mining colony that SuperEarth abandoned after the first Terminid resurgence. My parents were engineers left behind when the evacuation order came through. The ships never returned. The swarm came instead. We lived in the lower shafts far below the surface. The air there was heavy, filled with resin dust that glittered like ash when light caught it. The old lights still worked sometimes, flickering from the solar grids that hadn't yet been consumed. They bathed everything in a sick orange glow. There were maybe 40 of us. Survivors, scavengers, children born after the fall. The adults rarely spoke about the war, only about survival. They told us never to go above level 6. That was where the hive began, where the tunnels grew too warm and the walls too alive. When I was 5, I asked my mother why the walls pulsed. "Because the planet's still dreaming," she said. I didn't understand then. I do now. The hum was constant, a deep vibration you could feel in your teeth. It was the sound of the swarm's blood moving through the world. The old one said that when the Helldivers bombed the surface, the swarm went underground. Merging with the rock itself, the hive became the planet. We just lived inside it. Every few weeks, the ground would tremble, not from quakes, but from movement. The Terminids shifted like tides. Sometimes you'd hear them in the deeper tunnels, claws scraping, wings brushing stone. When they passed close, the lights dimmed as if the world itself bowed to them. We learned not to scream. Sound attracts them. Instead, we learned to listen. The hum told you when they were near. If it quickened, you stayed still. If it slowed, you moved. Some nights, the older kids dared each other to sneak to the upper levels. They came back different, pale, quieter. Some stopped speaking entirely. One boy, Larek, came back with a pattern burned into his neck, a spiral of faint gold lines under the skin. He said he heard the hive calling his name. The elders wanted to exile him. My mother stopped them. "He's still one of us," she said. They didn't agree, but no one argued with her. My mother was the closest thing we had to a doctor, and she was the only one who knew how to repair the air filters. Without her, we'd all choke within a week. That night, I found Larek sitting by the broken vent shaft, staring into the dark. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the resin light. "Does it really talk?" I asked. He nodded. "Not with words. It just knows. It wants to show us something. What does it want to show you?" He smiled. "Home." He didn't wake up the next morning. The tunnels were quiet for 3 days after that. The hum didn't change, it never did. But it felt heavier, slower, almost satisfied. We buried him in the lowest shaft where the resin was too hard to dig through. My mother placed a metal plate over the spot and whispered something I couldn't hear. Later, when I asked what she said, she told me, "I asked the planet to leave him alone." When I turned 10, the air filters finally failed. Half the lights went out and the oxygen scrubbers started spitting dust. The adults argued about what to do and stay and suffocate or try for the surface. That night, while everyone slept, I crept to level 6. I wanted to see what the surface thieves looked like. I wanted to see the hive with my own eyes. The air grew hot as I climbed. The walls glistened with moisture, pulsing faintly. The hum got louder, clearer. It wasn't random. It had rhythm, like a heartbeat, and buried in it just for a moment I could swear I heard my name. The first thing that struck me about the upper levels was the light. It wasn't the dull orange glow of our lamps or the faint pulse of the resin veins. This light was white, cold, clean, unnatural. It poured through cracks in the ceiling where the rock had caved in, spilling down like water. The air was different too, thinner, sharper. Every breath burned, but I couldn't stop breathing it in. It smelled like wind and ash and freedom. The tunnels at level 6 were half human, half hive. You could still see the old mining rails buried under layers of resin. The walls shimmered like oil when I passed my lamp over them. Sometimes if I stared too long, I thought I saw phase moving in the resin. Twisted, human shapes half absorbed, eyes wide and frozen in amber. I told myself it was imagination. I told myself a lot of things back then. The hum was stronger here. It wasn't just sound anymore. It was feeling, pressing against my ribs, sinking with my pulse. Every time I tried to slow my breathing, it changed pace to match. That's when I realized the hive wasn't echoing me. I was echoing it. I reached the breach after an hour of climbing. The ceiling had collapsed long ago, revealing the open sky, or what was left of it. The world above was gray and endless. Ash drifted like snow. In the distance, the remains of a SuperEarth facility jutted from the sand. Rusted towers, shattered domes, the bones of a war machine buried in dust. I'd seen drawings of it in the old books. To me, it looked like a graveyard for gods. The ground was black glass where orbital fire had scorched it decades ago. My boots crunched through the crust, sending echoes out into the silence. Silence. That's what shocked me most. No hum, no heartbeat, just wind. It was the first time in my life that I'd ever heard nothing. I stood there until the wind changed, until the hum began again, faint but growing. The silence had been a trick. The hive never truly slept. I crouched beside one of the towers and brushed away the sand. Beneath it, I found a symbol, the eagle of SuperEarth, half melted into the metal. I'd seen it in the old vids, always bright, always perfect. Here it was burned and broken. That was when I heard the sound, a dry clicking like glass tapping stone. Terminids. I froze, scanning the ridge. The sound came again, closer this time. A shadow moved across the glass plane. Low, fast, crawling. Then another. There were at least 3. Small scouts, the kind that patrolled hive perimeters. Their shells were blackened from the orbital fire, but they moved smoothly, perfectly. They weren't hunting. They were listening. I ducked behind the tower, heart pounding. My mother had told me stories of the surface, how soldiers used sound sensors to detect swarm movement. Now I realized the Terminids had something better. They could feel, for the hum inside me shifted, deepening in tone. My heartbeat matched it without permission. The scouts stopped moving. They turned toward me, all at once. I ran. The glass field cracked beneath my boots, each step louder than the last. The scouts shrieked and gave chase, claws cutting through the black sand. I sprinted toward a crater, praying for an opening, a hole, anything. Then the ground gave way. I fell through a thin layer of glass into a buried tunnel below. The world inverted, darkness swallowing everything. I hit resin hard enough to knock the air from my lungs. The scouts didn't follow. Their screeches faded above me. The hum returned, calm now, steady, almost soothing. I lay there gasping, staring up at the faint light filtering through the cracks. And that's when I heard it again, faint, inside my head this time, not my ears. "You don't have to run." The voice was soft, patient, not human, not Terminid either, something between. I closed my eyes, and for a moment the hum slowed. My breathing matched it. My fear melted away. That was the moment I stopped thinking of the hive as something outside me. It had been waiting inside all along. When I woke, I wasn't alone. Shapes moved in the dark, soft and slow, like shadows learning how to breathe. The air in the tunnel was heavy and damp, tasting of metal and spores. My lamp was cracked, its light flickering weakly against resin walls that shimmered as if alive. One of the figures stepped closer. For a heartbeat, I thought it was a Terminid drone. But no, the shape was wrong. Too upright, too human. She wore armor, old Helldiver plating, the kind I'd only seen in rusted fragments. The paint was gone, replaced by patches of hardened resin. Her faceplate was missing, revealing skin marked by faint golden veins. Her eyes glowed softly like dim embers. "You shouldn't have come this far," she said. Her voice was steady, almost kind. I didn't answer. My throat was dry, my tongue sticking to the roof of my mouth. "Relax," she said. "We're not them." Not exactly behind her, others stepped into the light. 6, maybe 7 people, all in mismatched armor fused with resin. Some of them had claws instead of hands. One had mandibles growing from his jaw. They were human once. I could see it in the way they moved, careful, aware of the space around them. But the hive had changed them. Or maybe they'd changed themselves. "What are you?" I whispered. "Survivors," she said. "The ones who stayed." Her name was Mara. She said they had been left behind after the orbital strike. Soldiers caught in the fire, buried in the hive instead of burned away. Over the years, the resin crept into their wounds, their lungs, their blood. They should have died. Instead, they adapted. "The hive doesn't hate us," Mara said. "It just doesn't understand what we were." She gave me water, real filtered water from a cracked canteen. I drank greedily until my chest hurt. "Why help me?" I asked. "Because you still hear it," she said. "The hum." She was right. Even here, surrounded by the sound of dripping resin, I could still feel it. The steady, pulsing rhythm deep in the earth. It wasn't just noise anymore. It was thought. Mara knelt beside the wall and pressed her palm against it. The resin glowed faintly where her hand touched. "It's awake again," she said. "The old soldiers called it the mine below. It's been quiet for years, but it knows when new blood enters the tunnels." She looked at me then, eyes shining faintly. "It knows you." "I don't understand." "You will." They led me deeper through the tunnels, further than anyone from my colony had ever gone. The air grew hotter, the hum louder. I saw what they had built, a hollow chamber lined with resin that pulsed like muscle, lit from within by flickering veins. In the center stood a machine, A SuperEarth beacon, broken but still humming weakly. Someone had fused it into the resin itself. "It's alive," I whispered. Mara nodded. The hive absorbed it after the strike. It remembers everything that touched it, every order, every code, every name. She traced her clawed fingers along the metal surface. We tried to destroy it once. The hive stopped us. It doesn't want destruction anymore. It wants to learn what? What we are. I stared at the beacon. Its light flickered, stuttering like breath. Then for a moment I heard a voice, faint, distant, familiar. It was my mother. "Don't be afraid of what grows," she said. I stumbled back. How is that possible?" "The hive keeps echoes," Mara said softly. "It collects memory the way it collects heat. Everything that dies down here stays. Oh." My hands were shaking. The hum vibrated through my bones, faster now, stronger. I could feel it climbing my spine like a pulse made of fire. "You're changing," Mara said, "just like we did." And I knew she was right. We walked for hours after that, following tunnels that no map could ever show. Some sloped downward until gravity itself felt reversed. Others spiraled through caverns glowing with pale blue light, the air trembling with unseen movement. The hum never left. It was in the stone, the heat, the air. It was inside me. Mara's group moved easily through it, like swimmers in a current they no longer fought. I stumbled behind, sweating, every nerve raw. Each pulse of the hive seemed to match my heartbeat perfectly now. When it skipped, I skipped. When it slowed, I shivered. The others didn't speak much. A few murmured to the walls, whispering words I couldn't understand, half language, half reverence. One man, his neck lined with faint gold fissures, carried a metal shard etched with the SuperEarth eagle. He kept running his fingers along it as if remembering something sacred and terrible. Finally, we reached a wide hollow that looked carved rather than grown. The floor was made of melted glass, and embedded beneath it, like fossils, were bones. Human bones. Dozens of them. Helmets, rifles, burnt tags. Mara crouched and touched the glass. "They tried to bomb the mind below," she said. "You can still feel it." I knelt beside her. The hum here was slower, deeper, almost peaceful. I could feel it pulling at the base of my skull, as if trying to draw my thoughts out of me. "What is it?" I asked. "The source," she said. "The hive heart." Every world has one. It isn't alive in the way we understand it. It remembers. It listens. She looked at me, studying my face. "You feel it, don't you?" I nodded. "It's not speaking to you," she said. "It's hearing you." The air shimmered. My ears filled with static, then whispers. Thousands of them, faint and overlapping, forming a chorus of broken phrases. Voices of people I'd never met, orders, prayers, screams, all buried here. I pressed my hands to my ears, but it didn't stop. The voices were inside. "Make it stop!" I shouted. Mara didn't move. "If you resist, it hurts more. Breathe with it. Let it match you," I tried. I inhaled and exhaled, slow, trembling. The hum synced with my lungs again. The voices softened. They didn't vanish. They blended, forming a single tone. Warm, familiar. Then the vision came. I wasn't standing in the tunnel anymore. I was above. Looking down at the planet from orbit, I saw the surface burning, the hives glowing through the ash. I saw ships, Helldiver dropships, falling through fire, and then I saw something impossible. The hive reaching upward, not with claws, but with light. Like it was trying to speak back. When I opened my eyes, I was on my knees, my nose was bleeding. Mara was watching me with something like pity. "You saw it, didn't you?" I nodded weakly. The mind doesn't hate, she said. It remembers the war, but it doesn't know why it began. It only knows the rhythm, I whispered. The hum. Yes, the pulse beneath everything. You can't kill it, you can only join it. She stood and faced the wall. The resin shifted, revealing a faint outline of a human figure, tall, armored, helmeted, a Helldiver statue made of living material. Who's that? I asked. The first, she said. The one who stayed after the bombardment. The one the hive used to learn human shape. The resin pulsed faintly around the figure. For a moment the visor glowed. Not red, not gold, but a color I can't describe. Mara turned back to me. You can leave if you want. The way you came is still open, but once you hear the pulse, you never stop hearing it. It follows you. It grows with you. I didn't answer. My hands were still shaking. My heartbeat was still matching the hum. And for the first time, I wondered if that was really a bad thing. We stayed in that hollow for what felt like hours, though time meant nothing down there. The hum was our clock. When it slowed, we rested. When it quickened, we moved. The others lay against the resin walls, eyes half closed, breathing in rhythm. I tried to sleep, but every time I drifted, the voices came back. Not in words this time, but in harmonies. They were singing, soft, deep, endless, the choir of echoes rising from the bones beneath the glass. I could feel it in my teeth, in my pulse, in the tiny hairs on my arms. It wasn't just sound, it was instruction. I looked at Mara. Her lips were moving with the song. What are they saying? I whispered. They're remembering, she murmured. Every soldier who died here left a fragment behind. The hive keeps them. It doesn't bury its enemies. It learns them. I crawled closer to the glass, staring down through the layers. The bones below glowed faintly with the same golden veins I'd seen in the tunnel survivors. And among them were shapes that weren't human anymore. Twisted hybrids, their armor fused into their bodies, their faces serene. My stomach turned. That's not remembering, I said. That's consuming. Mara's gaze was calm. What's the difference? Every god feeds on belief. The hive just uses biology. Her words sank into me like the heat in the air. The hum shifted, higher now, sharper. It wasn't the mind below this time. It was closer, the others stirred. One of them, the man with the eagle emblem, cocked his head, listening. They're coming, he said. Who? Hunters. Mara rose quickly. Move, now. We followed her through a narrow vein that twisted away from the hollow. The light dimmed until we were moving by touch alone. Behind us, the humming deepened into a roar, claws scraping glass, wings slicing air. Terminids. The hunters were larger than the drones, built like nightmares carved from obsidian. They could smell the change in us. I knew it. They knew I didn't belong. Mara shoved me ahead. Keep moving! A hiss split the tunnel behind us. A flash of motion. One of the group screamed. I turned just long enough to see a hunter drag him into the dark, its claws cutting sparks from the resin. The tunnel walls pulsed in alarm, the hum rising like a siren. We ran. The air grew hotter, thicker. The walls shook with movement. Ahead I saw light, cold blue, mechanical. We burst into another chamber, smaller, lined with human tech. Terminals, storage crates, a half-collapsed structure that might once have been a SuperEarth research outpost. Mara slammed the door controls, sealing the tunnel behind us. For a moment, there was only the sound of our breathing. The chamber lights flickered. A holographic terminal sparked to life on the far wall. Lines of code scrolled across it. SuperEarth script, decades old but still running. Power's coming from the surface grid, Mara said. This place used to monitor the bombardment waves. I stepped closer. The display showed an image of the planet, a topographic scan riddled with red points. Active hives, thousands of them. They knew, I said. SuperEarth knew the swarm wasn't gone. They always know, Mara replied quietly. They just changed the story. The hum settled again, low and steady. I could almost believe it was satisfied. I sank to my knees beside the terminal, staring at the glowing map. The red points pulsed in the same rhythm as my pulse. Mara put a hand on my shoulder. You can't unhear it now. You're part of the choir. I wanted to argue, to tell her I was still human, but my voice caught in my throat. The hum had found its way there too, and when I finally exhaled, I realized I wasn't breathing alone anymore. That night, I learned what hunger really was. It wasn't the ache in your stomach when food ran out. It was deeper. Something the body remembered before the mind did. Something the hive understood far better than we ever could. We rationed the last nutrient paste while the others checked the outpost perimeter. The hunters were still out there, their cries echoing faintly through the tunnels. The resin walls vibrated with their movements, sending ripples of sound through the air. Every breath tasted like dust and fear. Mara sat across from me, scraping melted glass from an old datapad. Her golden veins pulsed faintly under the skin, keeping time with the hum that had never stopped. You're starving, she said. We all are. She shook her head. Not for food, for connection. You feel it too, don't you? The emptiness between heartbeats? I didn't answer. I knew what she meant. The hum wasn't just sound anymore. It was expectation, a rhythm waiting for a response. And every time I resisted, it pressed harder. You'll stop fighting soon, she said softly. We all did. I turned away. You think giving in is survival? I think it's inevitable. The others had grown quieter since the attack. Their movements had become strange, too smooth, too synchronized. When they breathed, they did it together. When one turned their head, the others followed. It wasn't obedience. It was instinct. They weren't human anymore, not fully. And the terrifying part was how peaceful they looked. The hum deepened suddenly, a long, slow wave that rattled the crates and made the floor pulse underfoot. Mara's eyes flickered. It's calling again, she whispered. The mind below knows we're here. Then we move, I said, standing. She didn't. If we run, it'll chase. If we listen, it might let us go. That's what you said last time, and half your people died. Her gaze hardened. They didn't die. They were reclaimed. I gritted my teeth and started toward the outer corridor. Behind me, the air shifted. The hum grew warm, and then the smell hit. Not rot, but something worse. Sweet, alive. The floor cracked open, resin poured from the seams like blood, and from it rose something enormous. A figure shaped like a Helldiver, but made entirely of translucent flesh and glowing veins. It looked at me, not with eyes, with recognition. The hum grew deafening. My body locked in place. I heard it speak, not aloud, but inside me. You came from the dust. You returned to it. Why fight? My knees buckled. I saw flashes. The tunnels of my birth, the faces of the dead, the glow beneath the earth, all connected, all one rhythm. Mara stepped forward, trembling but calm. He's not ready, she whispered to it. The creature turned its head toward her. You were. The resin veins in her neck flared bright gold. She gasped, falling to her knees as the light spread through her body. Her fingers melted into the resin floor, fusing with it. Her face twisted, not in pain, but in revelation. Mara! I shouted, grabbing her shoulder. Her skin was hot, too hot to touch. She looked up at me, eyes glowing like suns. "It's not death," she said. "It's return." Her voice layered, human, hive, machine, all at once. Then she dissolved. The hum stopped. For the first time in my life, the silence felt wrong, empty. The figure of resin sank back into the floor. The chamber dimmed until only the faint pulse of gold remained in the cracks. I stood alone among the ruins, shaking. I wanted to scream, to curse, to pray, but when I opened my mouth, only a whisper came out, low, rhythmic, in time with the heartbeat of the world. The hive had taken her, and it had left something inside me. After Mara dissolved, the tunnels fell quiet in a way I had never heard before. No hum, no breath, just stillness. The kind of stillness that makes you aware of your heartbeat, the slow pump of something that isn't entirely your own. The others didn't move for a long time. They sat against the walls, staring at the place where she had vanished. One of them began humming softly, almost a lullaby. Another joined in. Within minutes, the sound grew. Low, harmonic, eerie. I couldn't tell if they were mourning her or calling her back. I left. The outpost had other corridors, one sealed since before I was born. The signs on the walls were still readable. BIOLAB, LEVEL3, SUPEREARTHPROPERTV. The words looked alien now. Relics from a faith that had forgotten its own prayers. The door was half melted, but the hinges gave after enough force. Inside was a chamber lined with cracked glass pods. Each one held someone. Not soldiers, not civilians, something between. Their faces were calm, their eyes open, skin threaded with the same gold veins that marked Mara. The resin had grown into them like a second skeleton. I counted 12 pods, 11 occupied. The 12th was empty. I stepped closer. Each pod emitted a faint electrical hum. Not hive, not human, but technological. The frequency pulsed in threes, long, short, short. The same rhythm I'd felt in my chest since childhood. I wiped dust from a console beside the pods. The screen flickered to life, stuttering through lines of corrupted text before settling on one phrase. Experimental subjects. Terminid human adaptation protocol. Status. Contained. A log file loaded automatically. A voice played. Recorded decades ago, maybe longer. Objective is stable neural symbiosis. Initial results suggest host can maintain individuality while extending hive communication range. If replicated successfully, this could redefine control measures, another line of static. Termination orders from High Command. Project to be buried with Site Sigma-9. I stood frozen. The pieces fell into place. SuperEarth had tried to control the hive, not destroy it. They'd built these hybrids, the first choir. Mara and the others weren't victims. They were descendants of an experiment designed to weaponize empathy. I looked at the last pod, the empty one. A faint indentation inside the resin matched the shape of a body my size. The hum in my ears surged until I thought my skull would split. The walls shimmered, and for a moment I saw them. The scientists, the soldiers, the first test subjects, all overlaid like ghosts in the same space. They weren't gone. They were recorded. The hive didn't kill memories, it archived them. I reached toward the empty pod. The resin inside rippled under my touch, like water disturbed. My reflection shifted, my eyes glowing gold for the first time. Then a voice came from the intercom above me, crisp and familiar. Not the hive, not my thoughts. Subject 12, return to containment. The voice was calm, almost bored. I froze. Who is this? You've been active longer than expected. Rejoin the network. I'm not. You are. You were born here. You belong to the field. The hum behind the walls intensified, spreading through the metal like thunder rolling underwater. The pods began to glow, the bodies inside them twitched. "No," I whispered. The voice spoke again, softer this time. "You survived the silence because we made you for it." I stumbled back, tripping over debris. The pods started cracking from within. Fissures spreading across the glass, resin leaked like blood. One pod shattered. The figure inside stepped forward, dripping golden fluid, its face half human, half chitin. Its eyes mirrored mine exactly. "Home," it said in my voice. The hum reached its peak. Every pod burst open at once. I ran. I didn't look back, though I could feel their steps behind me. A dozen echoes of myself, each breathing in rhythm with the hive. The tunnels ahead pulsed with gold light, guiding me forward. The hum wasn't chasing me anymore, it was leading. For the first time, I realized I wasn't running from the hive. I was running toward it. The tunnels twisted downward until the air turned liquid. Heat shimmered through the resin walls, casting everything in gold and amber. The hum had become music now, a slow, deliberate rhythm that wrapped around my thoughts like chains of silk. The deeper I went, the less I felt my body. My heartbeat wasn't mine anymore, it was the planet's. Every step seemed guided by something that had already decided where I'd end up. The corridor opened into a cavern so vast it seemed endless. The ceiling curved far above me, breathing like a living lung. At its center, suspended in a column of pulsing light, was the hive core, the mind below itself. It wasn't a creature. It wasn't even a structure. It was movement, layers of translucent tissue folding and unfolding, faces flickering across its surface like ripples on water. Human, Terminid, machine. All one, all speaking in the same silent language. I should have run. Instead, I fell to my knees. The hum filled me completely, vibrating my bones until every breath came out as a whisper of its rhythm. And then I heard her voice. "Don't be afraid," said my mother. I looked up, and through the shifting light I saw her face forming in the core. Familiar, gentle, wrong. Her eyes glowed like molten gold, her expression calm as if she'd always been part of this place. "And you died," I whispered. "Did I?" Her voice was inside me now, warm and resonant. "Death is only separation. The hive ends that. It brings us back together." "You're not her," I said, but the words didn't sound convincing. Even to me, she smiled, a motion that rippled through the core itself. "You've always belonged here. You were born from us, the first of a new rhythm." The truth fell on me like gravity, the whispers, the connection, the hum that had lived in me since birth. It wasn't infection, it was inheritance. The core pulsed, and 1,000 memories poured into my mind all at once. Soldiers burning under orbital fire, children crying in collapsed tunnels, the choir singing beneath the glass, Mara's final breath. Every one of them spoke in the same tone, surrender and peace. "You can fight it," my mother's echo said softly, "but you'll die believing in a lie built by machines. Or you can listen and live forever as part of something whole." The light intensified until I couldn't see anything but gold. My armor seams began to glow, the pattern crawling up my arms. I screamed, but no sound came out. The hive mind was rewriting me, molecule by molecule. And buried within that flood of light, another voice emerged, colder, digital. "Directive 9B engaged, neural resonance confirmed, termination protocol suspended." The core shuddered. For the first time, the hum broke rhythm. SuperEarth's signature was inside the hive. They had found a way to program it, to possess it. The gold light flickered with streaks of blue, the mark of human control. The faces in the core shifted faster, screaming, distorting. My mother's form twisted away, dissolving into the chaos. I pressed my hands to the resin floor. "Stop it! You'll kill them all!" Directive's voice thundered through the chamber. "The hive is not alive. It is data. We are reclaiming it, but I could feel its pain." The core wasn't dying quietly. The hum turned violent, vibrating until the entire cavern shook. Shards of resin rained from above. The Terminid forms that had followed me stumbled into the chamber. They screamed. Human voices warped through insect mouths. Some fell to their knees, others tore at their own armor, unable to bear the sound. Directive's command kept echoing. Containment, compliance, continuity. The hive mind struck back. The floor split open, revealing rivers of molten light. The core pulsed like a wounded heart. In that moment, I understood what both sides had been fighting for. Not survival, ownership of the same voice. And standing there, caught between them, I realized I didn't belong to either. The core screamed. It wasn't sound. It was force, vibration, the raw noise of something ancient realizing it could die. The light inside the cavern went wild, golden waves colliding with shards of blue as SuperEarth's control codes ripped through the hive's neural fabric. The hum that had been calm my whole life became agony. It stabbed through my thoughts like static, shattering every rhythm I'd come to trust. The hybrids who had followed me writhed on the floor. Their golden veins flared bright, then split open, leaking resin that smoked when it hit the ground. The light poured from their eyes like liquid fire. One of them, the one who had spoken in my voice, reached for me. His hand trembled. "Make it stop," he whispered. "Please." I couldn't. Directive's voice filled the chamber, layered now, dozens of tones speaking at once. Termination incomplete. Data integrity at risk, initiating full purge. The hive mind's glow convulsed. Faces melted into faces, limbs folded and unfolded. Every voice I'd ever heard inside it screamed in unison, not out of malice but fear. SuperEarth wasn't reclaiming the hive, it was erasing it. The hum faltered again, the rhythm that had always lived in me. Long pulse, 3 short, broke apart. My heart raced without pattern. I fell to my knees, gasping. "Stop!" I shouted into the void. "You're killing everything!" Directive didn't answer. It never did. I crawled toward the core, toward the column of flickering light. Every time I touched the ground, it burned, my gloves melted away, my palms blistered, but I kept crawling. I could see the 2 lights now, gold and blue warring inside the same body. One pulsed like blood, the other flickered like code. Between them, something fragile existed, a thin layer where both worlds met. I pressed my hand into that light. The pain was indescribable. The hum vanished. The world went silent. Then in the silence, a voice spoke. Not Directive, not the hive, something else entirely. "You can end this." I saw it then. A vision that wasn't sight, the surface above, the ruins of the colony, the children hiding in the tunnels. All of them connected through the hum. The hive didn't want conquest, it wanted survival, communication, coexistence. SuperEarth had never understood that. It feared what it couldn't control. I felt the power building between my hands, the bridge of frequencies merging. "Choose," the voice said, "the signal or the silence. If I let the signal live, the hive would survive, and humanity might never stop it. But if I chose silence, both would die here, buried together forever." For a moment I hesitated. I thought of Mara's words, of her smile as she vanished into the resin. It's not death, it's return. I pressed both palms into the core and screamed. My voice joined the hum. Golden light flooded upward, filling every crack, every vein. The blue flickered once, then dissolved, devoured by the pulse that carried my heartbeat. Directive signal died mid-word. The core surged. The cavern erupted. I was no longer standing. I was falling. Through heat, through sound, through time itself, I saw flashes of every life the hive had ever touched. Farmers in dust, soldiers burning under orbital fire, children learning to breathe through spore-filled air, all of them connected, singing one endless note. And then, just like that, the light went out. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on black sand under a silent sky. No hum, no rhythm. Only the faint shimmer of ash falling like snow. I looked down at my hands. The veins still glowed faintly, pulsing slower than before. Not hive, not machine, something in between. The world was quiet again, and in that silence, for the first time in my life, I wondered if I had finally become what I was always meant to be. The bridge that forgot which side it came from. The world after the hum felt too big. Silence stretched across the horizon, broken only by the wind dragging ash over the black plains. The sky was no longer gold or blue, it was gray, the color of forgetting. I didn't know how long I'd been lying there. The ground was warm beneath me, still alive in some faint, secret way. My hands shook, leaving glowing fingerprints that faded slowly in the sand. The hive was gone, or maybe it was just sleeping. I rose slowly, my body aching with every motion. The veins beneath my skin still pulsed faintly, soft gold fading to dull amber. The rhythm wasn't the hive's anymore, it was mine. Broken, imperfect, human. In the distance, smoke curled from the ruins of the old SuperEarth outpost. The metal towers were half melted, bent toward the sky like dead trees. I could see the shattered symbols still etched on their sides. The eagle, the anthem, the words for democracy, they looked like lies carved into a tomb. I started walking. Each step left a faint shimmer in the sand, fading behind me like memory. The silence was strange, not peaceful, not empty. Just waiting. Halfway to the wreckage, I found one of the hybrid soldiers. His armor was cracked open, his face calm. No gold veins, no movement, no hum. Just stillness. I knelt beside him and touched his helmet. It disintegrated into dust at my fingertips. Maybe the hive had taken them all into itself before the end, or maybe it had scattered them, each one carrying a fragment of its song. The wind picked up, and for a moment I thought I heard it again. That faint vibration, that echo of a heartbeat beneath the surface. But when I stopped and listened, there was nothing. The silence wasn't absence, it was choice. When I reached the outpost, the doors were open. Inside, the corridors were filled with debris. Half-melted consoles, shattered pods, fragments of data cores still blinking weakly. I found a terminal that still worked, barely. The interface flickered, struggling to load through static. A line of text appeared, command record found, playback. I hesitated, then hit yes. The voice that filled the room was one I knew too well. Directive, calm, cold. Containment protocol failed. Termination of hive intelligence incomplete. Neural bridge detected in subject 12. Awaiting reintegration. The words repeated once. Then again, before the screen finally dimmed. Reintegration. Was that what I had become? A piece of both? Surviving where neither should? I stared at my reflection in the cracked glass. My face was pale, my eyes faintly glowing gold, human enough to remember, hive enough to never forget. The hum was gone, but I could still feel where it had lived. A hollow in my chest that beat slower than it should. I walked outside again. The wind carried a faint scent of resin and ozone. The stars above were sharp and bright, untouched by war. For the first time, I wondered if SuperEarth was still out there, if their ships still orbited, still watched. Maybe they would find this place again, see the readings, call it contaminated, and burn it all over once more. Maybe that was all we ever did. Burn and rebuild, erase and repeat. I sat on the ridge overlooking the plains, the broken core faintly glowing in the distance, buried but not dead. "You hear that?" I whispered to no one. "That's what peace sounds like." But even as I said it, I realized I wasn't alone. The wind shifted, and somewhere beneath the ground, faint and far away, came a pulse. Slow, gentle, curious. Not the hive's old rhythm, a new one. I closed my eyes and listened. The beat matched my own. Maybe that's how it starts again. Not with invasion or control, with memory, with rhythm. With one heartbeat learning how to find another. I lay back on the black sand, staring up at the colorless sky, and for the first time since I was born, I smiled. Because the hum was gone, and somehow, impossibly, I missed it.